welcome to my channel where I talk about movies. Today I'm going to continue on with my year-long study of the films of Luis Bunuel, talking about them one by one, of all the films that are available. I think there's only like 3 Bunuel films that I won't be able to discuss. Before I get to the discussion of today's film, which is Susana from 1951, I want to talk about a couple books that I've recently completed on the subject of Luis Bunuel. This is Luis Bunuel, a critical biography, and it is written by Francisco Aranda. This was written in the mid-1970s. Bunuel was still alive. He still had 2 more films to make. Aranda was a friend of Bunuel's, and Aranda's father, also a friend of Bunuel's. So Aranda has some really good information of how the films developed, what Bunuel was trying to achieve in some of these films and some of the obstacles that he faced. Bunuel actually read the text, and occasionally Aranda will say, when Bunuel read this is what he said. He also has long excerpts from Bunuel's autobiography, My Last Sigh, which I'm going to reread shortly, and excerpts from a British film critic, Tom Milne, which are very good. Both Milne and Aranda himself are very perceptive and articulate. I really did learn a lot. So this is an old, this book is out of print. This is an old copy they got for less than $10 on eBay. Some of the more, the books that are in much better condition, a lot more money. The other book I want to talk a little bit about, I just recently finished, The Cinema of Cruelty, from Bunuel to Hitchcock, and this is a group of reviews that the French film critic Andre Bazin wrote about 5 different directors. So there's about 50 pages on Bunuel in this book, 80 pages on Alfred Hitchcock. And if you're a Hitchcock fan, the 80 pages here are really eye-opening, especially in the relationship of Bazin to his to the New Wave film critics that Cahiers du Cinema. Bazin was the founder of the Cahiers, and he was also its first editor, I think co-editor for about 5 years. He's different than the New Wave critics in that he often will try to set them straight in their exuberant hyperbole. For Hitchcock and other Hawks and Nicholas Ray, and the way that these New Wave critics disparaged other American directors like William Wyler. And Bazin was a big fan of William Wyler. He was also the godfather to Francois Truffaut in both the cinematic sense, the critical sense, but also a personal sense. He took Truffaut under his wings, and it is indeed Truffaut who edits this collection, which is highly recommended. Everything by Andre Bazin is highly recommended by me. He's one of the great cinema critics of all time. So let's get to the movie for today. This comes from 1951. This is Susana. That is indeed Susana on the cover. We're a family, a very well-adjusted family, sees her peering in on a window during a stormy night. But we have met Susana ourselves before this, because Susana is presented, the first time we see her, she is being carried, kicking and screaming in a prison into what appears to be a solitary cell. And she is highly distraught. There is a violent thunderstorm going on outside. The first thing that Susana sees when she's in this cell is a bat up against the wall. She sees rodents, spiders. She sees a glimmer of light on the floor. It seems to be coming through the bars of a window. But the bars in this reflection are in this form of cross. God, get me out of this. Susana just got to escape. And then she goes over to the window with the bars, and miraculously enough, the bars come loose, and she escapes into this violent thunderstorm. So the next time she turns up, she's at the window, this is the image, with a very happy family, father, son, and wife. They've had a great dinner. They're playing cards. The maid, however, is very upset. The maid, and this is what Bunuel was very good with maids, and this is one of his best. She is very funny. She steals most of the scenes, and she sees the thunderstorm as an omen, a bad omen. Something terrible is going to happen, and it certainly does when Susana makes her appearance at the window. The maid sees the devil, but the rest of the family takes her into the house, and her dress has been torn. She's covered in mud. The mother of the family, her maternal instincts kick in. She's never had a daughter, and she wanted a daughter. And both the son, who is home studying for his exams, university exams, and the father, the father very, quickly says, "You take care of her, and we'll see what happens." But they both notice Susana's bare legs covered with mud, and they are somewhat stirred by this sight. So Susana recovers. The mother wants to keep her on as an assistant to the maid. The overseer of the hacienda where they're living in some sort of ranch, he has his eyes on Susana right away, and she has to be his. And no matter what, he wants her to run away with him, even though he's got a very good job at this hacienda. The father discovers what's going on, and instead of banishing Susana, he banishes the overseer. So we know the father, like bowling pins, mother, son, father, overseer, they're dropping like bowling pins under Susana's spell. And so the son too, he falls madly in love with Susana, and to the point where he even declares, "I want to marry you." Susana's played by Rosita Quintana in a really great performance. I mean, she is so convincing. She is very sexy. I might fall under her spell as well. The father is played by Fernando Soler, a big star in Mexican cinema. In fact, he was the star of The Great Madcap, the film I discussed previously in this Bunuel series. But the maid keeps saying, "This is the devil." She knows right away. She has no sympathy for Susana. She can see the devil in her. And the mother eventually comes to see that as well. The overseer has been banished, which she finds incomprehensible that her husband, who is a very fair-minded man, would do that. And the son has become testy with her, this devoted son, because he's frustrated in his desire. And of course, the father as well will succumb to Susana's charm. He's paternalistic, and he is a kindly soul, but Susana's just too much for everybody. So the family is totally fractured. This happy family that we've seen in the beginning of the film, this happy hacienda, everything has been destroyed by Susana's presence. And how do you get out of this? How does this screenplay restore order? So, and it does, because Bunuel was forced to have a happy ending. And the happy ending comes so abruptly. It's like a miracle, almost like the bars in the beginning of the film that just pull away from and to help Susana escape. So is the family restored. It's absurd. Yes, I think Bunuel means this to be absurd. It's funny. It's laugh out loud. The ending here is laugh out loud funny, but it does, in a way, it does comment on what's come before, because although this is a steamy melodrama, that you can also see this as a satire, as funny. The pitiful nature of human desire, sexual desire, and how easily Susana can cast her spell over these men. And so you can see the melodrama here and pretty much enjoy it as melodrama as I did. But you can also see, especially in view of the ending, that there is a comic element to this. This is sort of pitiful behavior. Bunuel cares about his characters. He always said, I love all my characters, even when they're doing bad. I love them all. But we see them become to be at their worst in the presence of Susana. And this deadpan camera, I talked a little bit about this in my last video on The Great Madcap. Bunuel's, as he's filming this melodrama, he's not emphasizing that this is funny. And I enjoyed it as melodrama, I admit it. But looking back on it, it's a very funny film. Bunuel says, how do people don't find my films funny? And he is making a melodrama. He does his best. This again, is a well-directed film. Even though he didn't want to do the ending, he provided the happy ending no matter what. Now this is a Ancient Facets DVD. So this is, unbelievably enough, this was in my local library. I live in a small town with a small library, but they have a huge DVD collection. I was totally astonished that Susana was in here. Now, it looks okay. But in the night scenes, in the black of the night scenes, there are pixelated blue that are swarming about the black of the night, probably due to this particular edition of this DVD, which is still available. Because I read some reviews when this DVD came out, and there was no mention of that. It's not streaming anywhere with English subtitles. It is streaming on YouTube, but there are no English subtitles, which is a shame. And of course, this is another movie that, Bunuel's Mexican movies are such a mysterious and why don't we have a box set of it kind of thing. Well, in 1983, the Public Theater in New York City brought all his Mexican films to the attention of American audience. I don't know if it was all of them, but many. And Vincent Canby in the New York Times, he loved this film. He thought this was a terrific film. Someday we're going to get it. Someday. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who managed to listen. I do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. Take care.